Yes.
All right, let's call the Health and Human Services Committee to order. Issue number 1, county manager authorized and directed to sign a 1-year extension contract with the Office of Victim Services.
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second. Who would like to speak to that? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. DCS Morse was not able to make it tonight. I would like to point out that congratulations on that. As the result is, this is authorized, or my authorization to sign a 1-year extension of mental health department's current contract. Office of Victim Services. This is what is routinely done every year. And carries my recommendation to continue this issue.
Are there any questions from the committee? Any questions from the board? Not, we've had a motion and a second. All in favor? Is anyone opposed? So moved. Move on to issue number 2. Clerk of the board to advertise for OFA public hearings. Motion. Can you get a second?
A second.
Got a second? Angela.
This is just an annual motion to have Margaret advertise for public hearings, which will take place in September.
Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the board? Not. We've had a motion and a second. All in favor? Is anyone opposed? So moved. Move on to issue number 3. Public Health to request to solicit bids and apply for DEC assistance for the annual household hazardous waste collection event. Motion? Get a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Vicki?
This is just for informational purposes, just to let the board know that we have gone out we released our RFP for the annual household hazardous waste collection, which we normally hold in either October or November. Again, plan on the same timing this year. And also we will also be applying for the DEC grant. Just so you know, in the past, DEC we've applied up front and they approve it and say they will reimburse us for 50% of the cost. This year they've changed the application procedure. We can't apply until after the event, once we have all our bills in and then do it. I think it's semantics. I do still think that we'll get the 50% reimbursement, but just so you're aware that there is a possibility that we may not get the 50% reimbursement. I can't imagine why not, but just so you're aware.
Is information only, or is there any questions for Vicki on this?
How much money are you talking, Vicki?
I'm thinking it costs us somewhere around $12,000. I don't think it's as high as 15, but somewhere around 12.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Not, we'll move on to issue number 4. Board of Supervisors authorizes and directs the county manager to sign a contract with DEC for financial assistance for Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. Need a motion on that? Motion and a second.
And this is just an approval so that when we do, after the event, we can go ahead and get the submit the application for the reimbursement. This gives us permission of the county manager to sign it. And we have the resolution up front.
Any questions from the committee? Questions from the board? Not, we've had a motion and a second. All in favor? Is anyone opposed? So moved. Issue number 5. County manager authorized and directed to sign a contract renewal for the transportation services for the early intervention and 3 to 5 programs.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Vicki?
Okay, we have a contract with Durham School Services for the transportation of the children in the early intervention and 3 to 5 program. We've contracted with them for several years. It was a 3-year contract this time around. The contract's expiring. The county does have a right to renewal for an additional 12-month period. I'm asking us to go ahead and the board to authorize that so we can get that going. And then later this year we will be going out to submitting an RFP for the next cycle of contracts.
Any questions from the committee? Questions from the board? Now, we had a motion and a second. All in favor? Is anyone opposed? So moved. Issue number 6, amend the 2018 public health budget to accept increased performance improvement grant revenue.
Second.
Motion and a second. Vicki again.
Yes. Last year, the health department was awarded $12,000 for performance improvement. The state health department gives us guidelines, and we have to strive to meet them. If we meet them, we get money. Last year, we received $12,000, which was the maximum grant. This year, they altered what we had to do, and we were put in pots, and it was competitive this year for the first time. I'm very pleased to say that we got the maximum award of $30,500. That was not known when the budget was submitted, so we put in last year's amount, so we just need to increase what's in this budget by $18,500 to bring it up.
Good job.
Any questions from the committee? Questions from the board? Now, we had a motion and a second. All in favor? Is anyone opposed? So moved.
Can I just say one more thing? It's not on the
Absolutely.
agenda, but this is just for information to the board. You've heard me talk the last 3 years that the Seneca County Health Department is applying for national accreditation with 5 other counties. I'm pleased to say that we're moving forward. As I said, it's been a 3-year process. We submitted all of our documentation a year ago, May. Next Wednesday, the accreditation board will be coming to Seneca County to do our on-site visit. They will be meeting with our Board of Health and some of our committee members, and they'll be asking questions about clarification on the vast amount of documentation that we have submitted. I'd like to say that's the last step in the process, but it is not. Once they go back with their determination, then they have their committee meets, which does not meet till November 8th. So we're again another 3 months before we even possibly hear. If they don't make that cycle, then it'll be January. So it's just continuing. And just I've reported in the past that there are other counties that have done a multi-jurisdictional application. And I don't know if I'm happy to say or not happy to say, but this is a 6-county application. This is the only multi-jurisdictional application that has proceeded. Every other county that's gone multi-county has dropped out. So, I mean, I think we'll be a trendsetter in this. I don't know if they'll want to do it again with 6 counties because it's just been overwhelming for them as well as us. But it'll be very interesting to see how this comes out. So we're very anxious and hoping it goes well. So hopefully I'll have something to report at the next meeting.
The time and effort that your department has put into this, Vicki, has been greatly appreciated.
Thank you. It's been a learning experience. We've learned a lot, and we've certainly improved our processes a lot, but it's been overwhelming.
Thank you.
Now I'm done. Yeah.
Move on to issue number 7. Supervisors appoint Susan Smith, Director of Veterans Affairs.
I'll make a motion.
Motion and a second. Who would like to speak to this? Mr. Shepherd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You may remember mid-17, the Veterans Service Officer in that department became a direct report of the county manager, so I'd like to speak to this. And that Susan Smith has received the necessary certifications to ascend to the director, which is currently vacant. It's my recommendation she does so, and that this board appoints Susan Smith as a director of Veterans Service Agency.
Any questions from the committee?
One thing, we should probably say if we haven't, a thank you note on behalf of the Board of Supervisors for the previous one, Jack O'Connor, for his service. So we don't forget that we appreciated his service. And other employees have retired recently, and we've forgotten about them already without thanking them personally.
Great idea, Mr. Heisen. Is that something that, John, you can create?
We can certainly do that. It is the intent with the chairman's signature to represent the intent of the board. That's what we're looking at here.
Seems adequate.
Very well, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Is This is Susan Smith here tonight.
She is.
Welcome to the county.
Yes. Welcome.
You didn't get that motion yet.
We haven't voted on it.
Well, we'll put you on the hot seat anyway. Is there anything you would like to say?
I'm a fellow veteran. I know what they go through, and I have a heart for them. And I know I can do this job, and we will serve our vets to the best of our ability in this county.
Couldn't ask for any more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. With that, how about a vote?
Okay, we've had a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion from the committee or the board? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? So moved. Congratulations.
We still got one big vote.
That one big vote. That's
Full board vote.
That's for the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a full board.
Well, I know we did that. All right, issue number 8. The Board of Supervisors approved the appointment of Finger Lakes Workforce Investment Board member. Your motion on that.
I'll make a motion. I'll say it.
Motion and a second.
Where's that number?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a reappointment for a board member, Tom Albanese, who used to be with Golds, who served in this capacity, left Golds, so they needed to replace a member, and Stan Neck is that individual who was nominated by Karen Springmeyer from Finger Lakes Workforce Investment. So it needs to be approved.
Any questions from the members of the committee? Questions from the board? Not that motion and second, all in favor? Anyone opposed? So moved. Is there any unfinished business to come before this committee? Not this committee's adjourned.
Mr.
Chairman. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Bain.
I'm Banks.
Yeah, go ahead.
The vacancy committee met right before this, kind of in a quick emergency session, and at that meeting, there was a request from the Commissioner of Social Services, Human Services, to fill 2 vacant caseworker positions. One of them, they've both been here for quite a while. One of them left just because they didn't want to be a caseworker anymore, and the other one actually pursued her master's degree and received it and has been hired in the mental health department. So she's staying on with the county. So Tracy's just requesting to be able to refill those 2 caseworker positions. It just needs this committee approval.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Any questions from the board? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? So moved. Now we'll adjourn. Thank you.